I wonder if you know that your body keeps count. It's not the mind. It's not the mind that holds the memory. It's the body. It's the body which keeps count, and it has done throughout time. But it's so interesting because the mind, which wants to make continuous, it wants to make continuous time and linearize it in a way to enhance the continuity of it, so it can make sense of your timeline, so it can make sense of the world around, so it can put logic and identity and compartments to uh, everything around, really. But isn't it interesting, though, that the mind is not really where all the memory is held? The mind is a tool of translation. The mind wants to analyze, it wants to tell a story. So the mind then starts to read the stories that the body is holding. But every time that we feel an emotion and it moves through us, great, it moves through us and we express it and we feel it. And we might feel joy, we might feel connection, we might feel love, elation. But sometimes we might feel sad, we might feel grief, we might feel angst, we might feel frustration or various heavier energies. Now, do we allow those to move through? And if we don't, and we haven't always, because the world has been in a wounded place, and our parents and our caregivers who have raised us have been in that same place too. So then when we are younger, this is what occurs. Is we follow our guidance, we follow our emotions, we follow what we believe until we get told that that is the wrong way to think or the wrong way to feel. And every time that we've switched from our own inner guidance and we've looked at our primary caregiver or we've looked at those around us and we've gone, oh, well, they seem more stronger in their conviction of self and they are telling me that I must adhere to what they say. And so from a young age, we split ourselves in two. And the emotion that we feel in so doing that, which is what communicates the higher self to the lower self, the higher self to the human self. Emotions are the bridge of communication to help us understand what our higher self thinks and feels and whether we are aligning with that, embodied in that. And so what happens when we stop listening to our own inner guidance, we stop following our own inner compass, and we look at the compass of another, we dismiss ourselves, we gaslight ourselves, we second guess ourselves, and things become very unclear. And the emotion that rises up, perhaps we haven't been allowed to express that growing up. And so that emotion then starts to solidify, it starts to get stuck. Because emotion is like water, it needs to carry on moving. It cannot be stagnant. That is not good for the water, right? So when that emotion gets stuck, what happens? Well, it stores around organs, it stores around the body, it stores in different places, in different spaces, it calcifies. And then the mind, as it's recalling, the mind as it remembers something, remembers it differently each and every time, because it either remembers what happened based on the emotion stored in the body, or it remembers what happened based on the compounded emotion stored in the body. So if we have an experience that when we're very young, that happens and we make a decision, or we want to make a decision, we want to do one thing, but someone else is telling us we need to do something else, and we feel that push and pull inside, and we ignore ourselves and we follow what they want to do, we start to feel ignored by ourselves. So that's an emotion getting stored in there. We start to feel dismissed. Now, every time we do that, that compounds and magnetizes and adds another layer, adds a visceral layer over an organ or in a space or in the fascia of the body. So the body is keeping count every time you've ignored yourself, every time we've overthought something, every time we've gone against ourselves. The body is keeping count. And that leads us to where we are today, where we feel like it's hard to trust one another, where we feel like it's hard to communicate clearly, where we get triggered by one another, where we create stories about one another, where we put bondage and bindings over one another, when really we're only seeing it through a lens that is distorted by the waves of old emotions. So really it just needs to clear, it needs to come out, it needs to release. We release it through the body, we release it through moving, we release it through massage, we release it through many different things. You can't think your way there, though. You have to physically do the physical work. We're in a physical body. That's where the emotion is stored. That's where the subconscious is of the mind, is in the physical body. The subconscious is in the physical body, and that's where we create from. So if your reality is created and it's not exactly as you want, it's because there is something in your body, a belief that is stronger than that which you consciously believe. So the body is keeping count. So then how do we release that? Well, we move, we stretch, we meditate, we cry, we express, we create, we choose to do different things, we self-observe. And we ask ourselves, why? Why am I thinking that? Why do I feel that? Is that really the truth? Or am I creating this lens to look upon that person through? All very interesting, isn't it? On the 9th of April, the lovely Jackie White is hosting a workshop online where I get the honor of talking about the crystalline body, how we already have this crystalline body. People speak so often of the carbon to crystal body, but we already have a crystalline body, and it's stored a lot of challenging vibration, which is what fragments our world today. If it calls to you to learn a little bit more and to open your chakras and to clear your fascia, to clear the crystals, to allow in more of your higher self and spirit, please join us on Tuesday, the 9th of April. And if you can't make it live, there's a recorded replay for everyone who registers. It will be a joy to see you there. But it's time to release from your body that which doesn't belong in there. It is time to release from the body the beliefs that are stopping you, holding you back. It's time to release from your body so that you can be all that you can be and enjoy all of your life. Really bring it all back. It's not the mind that's keeping score. It's the body. Time to clear it all out and create some space. In love's name, time to embody that. Embody your truest self. See you all soon. Bye for now.